At first, it looked like nothing. Just another thin strip of sand and palm trees lost in the Pacific. No docks, no buildings, no reason for anyone to be there. Lieutenant Riley Beer had flown this patrol route dozens of times. Same altitude, same fuel check, same calm stretch of ocean below. It was supposed to be routine. The island beneath them, Peak Lot, was officially uninhabited. No permanent residents, no fresh water. A place marked on charts, mostly so pilots knew where not to land. Riley was already thinking about the return flight when something near the tree line caught his eye. Movement. Not birds, not wind. Something slow, uneven, like a shape that started to move, then stopped. Riley banked the aircraft slightly and circled back. "Did you see that?" he asked. His co-pilot, Lieutenant Justin Doy, leaned forward, squinting through the glass. "See what?" Riley dropped altitude. That's when the sand came into focus, and the letters appeared. 3 shapes carved deep into the beach, wide enough to cast shadows even from above. SOS. Justin exhaled sharply. That's not old. Riley's grip tightened on the controls. No one's supposed to be there. They made another pass, slower this time, scanning the shoreline. At first, nothing moved. The island looked abandoned again. Then something shifted near the center of the trees. A shadow. Then another. Riley leaned forward. His stomach tightened. There's something alive down there. As they descended, 3 figures stumbled out from the tree line. Not running, barely walking, thin silhouettes that moved like their bodies were working against them. They raised their arms, not high, not fast, like even waving cost too much energy. Near the waterline sat a small skiff pulled crooked onto the sand, its hull scraped and tilted. It looked less like a boat and more like something the ocean had rejected. Riley keyed the radio. "Coast Guard Patrol Charlie 7. We have visual on possible survivors on Peak Lot Island. Request immediate rescue support and medical assets." Only static answered. He tried again. Nothing. Justin glanced at the panel. Radio's transmitting. Signal's clean. Riley stared ahead. Then no one's hearing us. Below them, one of the figures collapsed onto the sand. Riley swallowed. "God, no." Justin didn't respond. He was staring past the island toward the horizon. "Riley," he said quietly, "we've got a problem." Riley followed his gaze. A dark line was forming over the water, wide, fast-moving. The calm blue beneath it had already turned gray, the surface breaking into sharp, uneven waves. A storm front, and it was coming straight for the island. "How long?" Riley asked. Justin pulled up radar. His jaw tightened. 20 minutes, maybe less. The aircraft shuddered as the first gust hit it sideways. Riley looked down again at the beach. The figures were still there, huddled together now, clinging to each other like they knew something worse was coming. A hoist in rising winds was dangerous. Too dangerous. One bad swing and the cable could slam a survivor into the fuselage. One sudden drop and they'd be lost in surf that was already building. But leaving them... Rain speckled the windshield. Then more. The palms below bent violently, their fronds snapping in the wind. "Prep an emergency drop," Riley ordered. "Food, water, medical kit. 2-way radio, now." The crew moved fast. No talking, no hesitation. Riley fought the controls, holding the aircraft as steady as he could while the bundle was secured. They hovered low, lower than protocol allowed. The wind shoved them sideways again. "Drop!" Riley shouted. The package fell hard, bounced once, and slid across the sand. The figures lunged toward it immediately. Riley grabbed the mic. "This is the U.S. Coast Guard. Can you hear me?" A moment of static, then a voice thin, cracked, shaking. Yes, we hear you. Please don't leave." Riley closed his eyes for half a second. "We're here to help. A storm is moving in. We can't hoist safely right now. Use the supplies. Stay together. We are coming back." "No," the voice said, panicked. "We've been here 33 days. We drink rainwater. We eat rats. One of us can't stand anymore. She's getting worse." Behind the voice, someone coughed. Deep, wet. Justin leaned in. "Riley, visibility's dropping fast." Riley looked back at the horizon. The storm wasn't approaching anymore. It was already swallowing the sky, and the island was about to disappear. The first sheet of rain slammed into the aircraft like gravel. Within seconds, the island blurred, its sharp white sand dissolving into gray streaks. The horizon vanished. The sky and ocean became one moving wall. Riley fought the controls as the wind shoved the aircraft sideways. "We're losing the island!" Justin shouted. Riley glanced down one last time. The 3 figures were barely visible now, small, dark shapes clinging together as the storm swallowed the beach. The SOS letters blurred, the edges already breaking apart under pounding rain. Riley keyed the mic again. "Stay with the supplies. Stay visible. We are coming back." Static answered, then nothing. The island vanished completely. Riley pulled the aircraft away just as turbulence slammed them hard enough to throw loose equipment across the cabin. Rain hammered the windshield so thick it felt solid. For the next 40 minutes, the crew said almost nothing. Everyone knew what they had left behind. When they finally broke free of the storm and landed back at base, Riley stayed in the cockpit long after the engines shut down. His hands still trembled slightly on the controls. 3 people, an empty island, and a storm that erased everything. That night, Riley barely slept. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the beach disappearing, the figures shrinking, the radio going silent. At first light, the storm weakened enough for a rescue launch. Riley didn't wait for the briefing to finish. The aircraft lifted off as soon as clearance came through. As they approached the coordinates, Riley scanned the ocean desperately. For a moment, he felt his chest tighten. The island was back. The sand was torn and uneven now. Palm trees bent at odd angles. Debris littered the shoreline. But near the center of the beach, movement. "They're there," Justin said softly. Riley dropped altitude. The supplies were scattered, torn open. The SOS letters were gone, washed away completely. Only the people remained. They looked worse. One of the men waved weakly. The other supported a woman who could barely stand, her body sagging as if gravity itself was too much. Riley didn't hesitate. "Deploy the hoist." The wind was still unpredictable, the aircraft rocking unevenly as the cable dropped. Every second felt like a gamble. The first man clipped in and rose slowly, his body swaying dangerously as the wind caught him. The crew pulled him in just as the aircraft lurched again. He collapsed onto the floor, shaking. The woman was next. As the harness wrapped around her, her head dropped forward. She didn't wave. She didn't speak. Riley's pulse hammered as the cable lifted her. Halfway up, a sudden gust spun her sideways. "Easy, easy," someone shouted. She slammed gently but hard enough against the fuselage. When they pulled her inside, medics moved instantly. Glucose, oxygen, Hunts, working fast. Her pulse was faint but there. The final man came up last, his grip barely holding as exhaustion overtook him. When he reached the cabin floor, he didn't stand. He just whispered, "Thank you." The flight back was silent except for medical equipment and shallow breathing. The woman survived, barely. Doctors later said another night, another storm, and she wouldn't have. Weeks later, Riley stood on the tarmac watching another patrol lift into the sky. Pike Lot Island was back to being empty again. No SOS. No footprints, no sign that anyone had ever been there, except for one thing Riley couldn't forget. If he hadn't looked closer, if he had treated it like just another empty island, no one would have ever known they were there, and no one would have ever come back.